Hey guys, I've been having some trouble with my camera lately, so this is my disclaimer. I did not intend to make another video until I could get a new camera, but I don't know how long that's gonna be, and you guys seem to like my content pretty well, so I'm gonna give it one more try for you guys. Just do me a favor and try not to be too hard on it if the quality ends up being poor. Thank you. Hey guys, Guy in a Wheelchair here, and you know what time it is. It's time for Deception of Religion number 8. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Today, we're refuting a video by YouTube user Explore God entitled Evidence That Christianity is True. Now, we all know how these things normally go. Christians always seem to have a different definition of evidence than the rest of us. But this guy might be different. Have we finally found a Christian that cares about empirical evidence? Let's find out.
Well, starting with the historicity of Jesus and whether or not he actually existed, I think scholars have pretty much settled that, where if you ask just about any scholar out there, they'll tell you he did exist. He was born, he lived, he died, he was crucified by the Romans.
Okay, so I did some research before the video to find out if historians really believe that this specific man named Jesus existed, and I could not find a clear answer. So I'm gonna give this guy the benefit of the doubt on this one. But just because he was crucified by the Romans does not prove he was the Son of God. The Romans put to death millions of people that way during that time. In fact, that was one of the more popular ways of putting someone to death. And furthermore, there are hundreds of thousands of people alive today with the name Jesus. We just call them Jesus. It's the same name. So proving that somebody with that name was crucified by the Romans does not prove that they were the Son of God. That just puts them in the same category with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other people during that time period.
Looking historically, going back almost 2,000 years, outside manuscripts and other historical documents detail how there was this fledgling movement of Christians that came out of this area around Galilee. And
okay, I don't know if I believe you, because as far as I know, there's not too many documents out there that verify the things that were said in the Bible. But even if there was, that just proves a mass movement of people who claim to be Christian. That does not at all solidify your faith. Furthermore, we have documentation of millions of Jews being put to death during World War II. Does that make Judaism correct?
how they were persecuted by the Roman Empire. And
okay, first of all, saying that the Christians were persecuted by the Roman Empire proves nothing. The Roman Empire was the biggest empire in the world during that time, and they persecuted anybody who did not agree with their worldview, as every empire has done since the beginning of time. Furthermore, if persecution is what proves religion to you, then Judaism is also correct, because the Jews were persecuted during World War II. In fact, every religion is correct, because every religion at one time or another has been persecuted by another group of people who did not agree with them.
how, despite that persecution, as we fast forward to today, that they still existed.
Okay, despite the persecution, they still exist today, so that somehow proves it true, right? Wrong! What you're basically saying is, despite the hardships and criticisms they went through, they still exist, which must prove it right. But that's completely incorrect and misleading. Anything that makes money is going to continue to exist despite criticism and persecution because it makes money. People don't want to let go of things that make money. Fortune tellers still exist, palm readers still exist, psychics still exist, astrology still exists, and those things have been disproven time and time again. They still exist because they make money. People push them on people because they make money. People aren't going to let something that makes them rich die.
They grew and they flourished, and today there's about 2.9 billion Christians worldwide. So historically, there's this picture, this story of what shouldn't have been. It started with this one man who was crucified on the cross that turned into this small little fledgling group of people.
Okay, first of all, as I stated before, even if there was a man named Jesus and he was crucified and he convinced people to follow him, that does not prove that he was the Son of God. That just proves that he was surrounded by a bunch of gullible people who would believe anything he said. Furthermore, everything that you just said is contingent upon the idea that the New Testament and the Jesus described in the New Testament is true and accurate, which I don't believe and you are not demonstrating. You cannot use the book to prove the book. You're supposed to be providing evidence of Christianity, but so far it just seems like you're providing a story to people who already buy into your worldview.
Movement of people that were being persecuted by this huge empire that somehow survived that persecution when there was tons of other faiths or religions that were birthing up in that time that didn't. They were crushed because they were against the state, but yet somehow Christianity not only survived but grew and flourished and became what it is today.
This is the same point as earlier. Again, Christianity is a business. That's why it survived. That's why it flourished. Because people saw it as a money-making opportunity and they ran with it. It makes people rich. That's why it's so big. That's why it survived. And that's why it's flourishing. Because of money.
That shouldn't have happened. That in and of itself was kind of a miracle.
No, you're right. That shouldn't have happened. But it happened because there was a group of people who did not care about the well-being of their fellow man. They were only worried about lining their own pockets. It works the same way as those infomercials that sell products that don't really work. They don't care about the people they're selling to. They just care about their own pockets. It's exactly the same with Christianity. It's a scam designed to prey on gullible people.
So just looking at it historically, that is a miracle, and that is an argument for the truth and the existence of Christianity. It's real, it's tangible, it survived, it's been somewhat proven.
Okay, first of all, that's not an argument for Christianity. At least not a good one, because I believe that I've thoroughly disproven every point that you've attempted to make. But second of all, you said it's somewhat been proven. Somewhat been proven is not proven. Somewhat been proven is not proof of truth. If scientists said evolution has been somewhat proven, creationists would jump all over that. But because Christianity's been somewhat proven, people are supposed to follow it on blind faith? I don't think so.
Not to, again, neglect that there's been some evil and some horrible things done in the name of Christianity over time. They haven't always been the ones that were persecuted, but have sometimes been the persecutors. But still, at the end of the day, we're human. And there's good in us and there's bad in us. And we can't toss out that, we can't say that, oh, this Christianity is false just because this has been done in the name of that, or this faith is false because this has been done in the name of that.
Right. There's good in us, there's bad in us. People do evil, I understand that. However, the entire Old Testament is littered with God commanding people to persecute people. Not humans, not flawed humans. God commands humans to persecute people. It's not humans' decisions. Humans are following God's orders according to God. So how do you explain God commanding people to persecute other people?
Looking at Islam, horrible atrocities, 9/11, bombings, terrorism. There's been so much done in the name of Islam, but does that mean that Islam is all bad, that all Muslims are bad, that faith is irrelevant? I can't say that. I can't toss out this whole group of people and call them misguided based on the actions of a few.
Oh my God, this is so dumb. Okay, that could be applied to any religion in the whole world. By that standard, any religion could be true, which just weakened your argument that much more for Christianity. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but God says in the Ten Commandments that you shall not worship any God before him. He says be loyal to the Christian faith. That statement was not loyal to the Christian faith. You basically just said that Islam could be true. You can't throw it out. It could be true. So why are you a Christian?
So there's active people that are Christians that are being moved by what they say is the Spirit and being motivated by the words of God telling them to love their neighbor as themselves and to care for the least of these, that is propelling them to be a solution to a problem.
Oh geez, the personal experience argument. How original. These people have had this experience and that's why they believe it. Well, you know what? Good for those people. I haven't had that experience, and somebody else's experience is not going to be enough to convince me of anything. Thank God that video's over, because I could literally feel my brain cells dying. I said at the beginning of the video, have we finally found a Christian who's interested in empirical evidence? And obviously the answer is no. He doesn't even provide an original argument. He spent the entire video using unverifiable historical facts and the personal experience argument. The title of your video is evidence that Christianity is true, but you did not provide one little bit of evidence. Therefore, you and the title of your video are wrong.